thank you for joining us. And my name is Diane Doucet.
My name is Carl Chase.
And we wanted to talk today about SR&ED. And just for your information, we'll be recording today's session, and we'll be possibly using it for our social media. Your names and faces won't appear on the social media. We'll limit it to Carl and I. So don't worry. So thank you for coming. I know you know what SR&ED is because I know who you are. Fadi, you work with us at Ryan, and Ryan, you work at Bloom Consulting, Bloom Funding, right? And I know you're very familiar with SR&ED, but perhaps you're not so familiar with Dovico Timesheet. And what we wanted to talk about, Carl and I, today, I was really hoping that we would get some people from the other people that have registered for the event be here. But like I said, we will share this video, and they will get the information at a later date. So I'll go over a little bit about who we are and what we do. But Dovico is Dovico Timesheet, and we track time. And on our side, we've always tracked time for SR&ED. And the reason we do that is because timesheet keeps us accountable for those SR&ED hours. It helps us track what normally may be difficult. And at the end of the year, sometimes what happens with us as people, if we don't track the time, then we forget how much time we spent on particular tasks or particular activities that maybe could qualify for SR&ED tax credits. Now, Dovico, we are not tax experts, and you are. I mean, we have been dealing with Ryan as a partner for many, many years, and they've helped us with that process of filing SR&ED and knowing exactly what qualifies as SR&ED, and they've done an excellent job at that. And now we've been also talking with just recently with Bloom, who is also a tax expert on SR&ED and helps Canadian companies with getting those tax credits. Now, for us at Dovico, we use our own products for SR&ED, like I said, and we have many clients that also use it for that purpose. And although you can record time and cost for timesheet, you can also limit it to only specific things, or you can record all of your projects across the board and also use it for billing and costing. So because we only have a short period of time, I'll ask Carl to maybe give you a sense of what it looks like to customize timesheet and use it for SR&ED, so that you can maximize the time credits that you do get at the end of the year.
Thank you, Diane. So like Diane said, we are not SR&ED experts. I'm just kind of showing you how we know how we do it internally. There's many ways to dissect this, but I will show you how we currently do it. I'm going to share my screen here and share Dovico Timesheet. So what's important about Dovico is for us, there's a multitude of things that we can track that SR&ED takes into account. And one of them is time, which is very obvious. The other, though, is not as obvious, is the time off. And Dovico does have a separate time off app, which I won't talk about today, but we do have a time off app that's separate from our app that you can track your vacation, sick, or whatever time off. But very soon in our next release, it'll actually be included in our product. So you'll be able to get all that information that you have to provide to SR&ED through reporting, your actual hours, your sick time, and even expenses if you want to do so. Now, for those of you who are on this call that never seen Dovico before, I'm just going to kind of describe to you what you're looking at here. As you can see, to make it very simple, this is our project screen, and we've only...
Oh, yeah, Carl, you're not sharing your screen, I don't think.
Sorry. Share.
There we go.
You got
Thank you. Almost have it.
There we go. All right.
There we go. Now we can see.
Back up a little bit, but all right. So what I was saying was, if you've never seen Dovico before, when you're initially logged in here, is a project screen. And to make things nice and easy, we only have one project. We have a project type, and that project type is just a grouping. And you can see here that we distinguished this project to be shred. There's many ways to do it. So I'm going to kind of point out some of those ways. You can have here, we have an employee list. So your employees can track time. And by doing so, they can track shred hours or non-shred hours. And once they're assigned to their assignments, they come into their timesheet. You can even categorize it in this way, where they come in, and if the project is shred, and if it's not shred, they can still add it to their timesheet and add what they need here. But when they pick something for shred, they can add it. And then over here, when you actually put something, I might have lost my. Maybe I don't have a custom field on this one here, but maybe that's the perfect time to show you. So this is how tags in Dovico can help. I don't know if I have one here. So this is called the custom field. So between our groups and our custom fields, you can quickly distinguish. There is a multiple choice on there. Let's see. Timesheet. Let me go back. So here you can distinguish whether or not on the record itself, the person puts, I worked 2 hours today. Oops, I must have required field 2 hours today. And I put, yes, it's a shred. Those are shred hours. So that's one way of using our custom fields to distinguish whether or not a project is actually shred, or when you run a report, if you want to see it on that level. But there are different ways to see it on different levels, because in the employee, I forgot to mention, was where you can hit edit. We have down here a, sorry, where is it? Group. So we can, like, if you know your R&D team is the only team that's going to be, qualified for shred hours, then you can have a team like in here, like, Q&A engineers, and I could group them all. And then when I run a report, I can say, I only want to see hours for Q&A engineers, and I only get those shred hours based on the fact that I know they're the only group to do so.
Yeah, the interesting thing to add on to this, Carl, as well, is I know that for shred, you sort of had to identify the type, the skills or the position titles. So this, if you have a larger organization or a lot of people in your group, it sort of helps to create that list so that you can submit it for review to the tax consultants.
So then from here, like there are many different locations. So like even like on the project itself, if I go to a project here, we have project groups. So if I go edit, I can even come here and I could go under settings, and I could group the project itself by an item, by a group, by a tag, or whatever you want to call it. Now, if these tags don't exist, like physically here, like a drop down, that's where that custom field is. You create your own tag, and then you can associate it to whichever item you need to in order to filter it out properly. Now,
and the nice thing about this too is that, if we have clients that want to set it up for shred, Carl can set it up for you in a snap, and there's no cost to that in Dovico Timesheet. We just do that as a service to our service. So we can also offer that as onboarding, and it's easy. It takes a load off of the person who starts using Timesheet for shred.
and another thing you can take into account with our software is you may not want to have multiple projects that are like split into two, half shred, half time, or half whatever, and you can mix them. So what I mean by that is here, you can have a billable item or a non-billable item and just flag it as an item that you don't want to track as shred. So there's just so many different ways to do it. But essentially, the idea behind this is to be more accurate, get more time entries in that are submitted and more regularly, because you can remind people to put their time in essentially in here, because we are time tracking first. We do have a calendar I don't have currently set up, but what it does, it pulls in your calendar from your Outlook, Gmail, or iCal, and you can bring in your calendar weeks in and fill in your time entries that way. And possibly some of those records that get pulled in are shred records or non-shred records. But just the idea that you can save time and have it more accurate than Excel. At the end of the week, I would say, you know, I put 2 hours in here. I said it was shred, and then I submit. Now, Dovico has other things that are important when it comes to shred to some degree. Like you may want an approval in place where you can say when time gets submitted, this person for this project is going to approve this shred time. So there's other methods. There's audits. There's security. There's many different things you can take advantage of depending on how you want to go about setting it up. But essentially,
The other thing, oh, sorry, Carl, I just want to mention, since you're in this my timesheet here, when you click on a cell, you also see a description. So the description is very important in documenting shred claims, because you want to be able, when you go back after a year, when you have to do your review, you want to figure out what, what happened during that task, during that work. And it becomes a little bit easier for you to sort of go back and see what was done. And when you look at these descriptions, so it's up to you if you want to use the descriptions or not. And of course, some companies like us, sometimes we use like separate systems, and then we connect them together so that we can collect all the information to get the claim done. But this is sort of a way that can be done as well.
And Diane and I talked prior to this webinar earlier, and another thing about Dovico is you're tracking the hours anyway. And if you find out later that these could have been shred hours and you didn't mark them as shred hour, it's not the end of the world. This can all be like altered either way, that it's shred or non-shred hours. Now, once time submitted in Dovico, just to give you kind of a general idea how this software works, it comes into this calendar here. If I can find time. There's the 2 hours I submitted. Now you can see that it's a shred project. The administrator has the ability to come in here and look at it, see that it is shred, evaluate it before, change it if they want to after the fact. So it's not like it's set in stone after it's submitted. And the big thing is once it does reach this calendar, it is now reportable. And we do have reports. Dovico has the ability to create custom reports. We have 32 canned reports, but however, you can see here that we made a couple today that correspond with shred. We have like a shred time entries by employee. And what does that necessarily mean? Well, it's a time entries by employee report, but it can, if I hit edit here, those custom fields that I put in place are usually like here, shred or task, shred project. So I can filter on any one of these, filter. I want to do that one. So I can filter on any one of these, or I can just add it. And if I had the list here, I could filter out the SR&ED taxes. So then I would just run the report. And if it's the correct report, I don't need that one. Give me a second here. So I'm going to close it because I don't like that one I just added. I was going to show you how you run a report. You say, oh, you pick your time frame. I'm just going to say for life to make it easy on me. And then here you see all the time entries. You see the if it was like the task description, the hours, we give you a subtotal at the bottom. But the neat thing about it is this is how we dumped it out. You can hit edit here. You can put whichever columns you want. You can sort it whichever way. There's even the ability here to have a raw data dump, which you can build a report yourself pretty much. You can go first name, project name, and then you can put those filters in for the, you can put those filters in for the custom fields or for the groups to get the proper data for it. But all it is, it's a, oh, I forgot to pick time frame. All it is here is a data dump. So you can literally dump out all your SR&ED tax credits, and you can come over here. I was in the wrong one, sorry. Oh, no, I wasn't. SR&ED text. Yeah, and then I export it to XLS, and then I could get, oh, that's the wrong one. Why is it doing that? Give me a second here. Export. So here you would get a data dump of in ready to go into Excel. If you're in Excel already using Excel, it's a great method to get that data out. But there are many ways to get the data that you need out other than that data dump. You can build your own reports. But to give you a very rough idea, this is kind of what we do when things come. We can run reports as well. If I go to the reports, because it is important that you need to know, we have vacation and leave reports that you can determine whether or not when people are off. So when they ask for these reports for the tax credits, you can provide the hours that you've worked on SR&ED, and you can also provide the hours that you were unavailable, and they can do their thing in that they'll provide that. That'll complete the claim. And that's pretty much it. And Diane, do you have anything you'd like to add to this?
To this, I think I would talk a little bit more about the expenses. We don't have to show it, of course, but it does include a section where people can add expenses to the project. So any SR&ED expenses that would qualify, or you think that would qualify that you need to sort of save, you can also add links to things on your project. So if you have external documents, you can add a link to your project so that you can sort of reference it later if you need to. So if you're keeping other things. The other thing that we do at Dovico is we've linked not LinkedIn, I can't talk. It's linked it to Jira. And so on top of having the calendar integration where your events are pulled in and it gives you more accurate data, you can also link it with Jira. So if you have if you're a company like us that does software development, you sort of have your tickets outside of timesheet and they link together, and you can track your time into timesheet from Jira or even from Outlook if you want to. So it depends on your tool, depends on who you are. It's very flexible in that respect. But the most important thing, right, for any process is you can use it the way that you think will ease your work. Because at the end of the day, being a small business, you don't want to spend your time tracking your time. You don't want to spend your time trying to figure out what's SR&ED and what's not SR&ED. You have consultants for that, Ryan and Bloom, you're here for that, right? So you have consultants for that. And us as business leaders, we want to make sure that we maximize those tax credits, but yet again, we don't want to spend all of our time trying to figure out what how much we can get and what we can get and how to get that information out. So timesheet is a great tool to facilitate time entry, to make sure that you get the most tax credits out of your business so that you can get that money into your business quickly without too much trouble, without too much weight on your shoulders. So
Thank you, Dan. That's great information. Was there any questions from the audience on what I've showed you so far, or anything you'd like to comment on, or anything for Diane potentially? Oh, good.
I have maybe a question or two that I had prepared in advance.
Thank you.
What kind of companies can take advantage of filling claims for SR&ED?
I'll take that on, Carl, if you like. And basically, I don't know all of the companies, but basically anybody who does research and development. It could be an engineering company, an architectural company. I know that other even manufacturing companies, a lot of different types of companies can take advantage of the SR&ED. Now we do have, like I said, we are not consultants. So I'm not really going to go into all of the details of, what these would be, but certainly a Bloom Consulting and Ryan Consultants would be able to help with a question like that. Maybe go a little bit deeper to see if your company would qualify or not.
Yeah, what would be an example that we took advantage of a tax credit that you could just quickly share? Would you have one?
Oh, pardon?
Share, would you have a tax credit, like just something that you could share what we did, just to like,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. Well, I'll tell you, before we worked with Ryan, I used to do the preparation for the tax claim, and it was quite heavy on us. And our claim wasn't as good as once we started using them as a service. And also with timesheet, with that, we saw that in the years that we started using timesheet for shred claims, because we've been around for 30 years. So this tax credit has been around for a long time. It's just some companies may not know that it exists or may not feel that it's for them. But I would really, you know, say that it's a very good thing to look into if you think that it's just even having the conversation, right, is really good, so that you can see if it would be something that would be beneficial for your company. It is quite substantial. We've seen most of our years we've gotten over $100,000 in tax credits, some years even more, and it's pretty consistent. So I would say that it's worth digging into.
And again, I am not a professional in tax credits, but I am here to help. And I do have people at my disposal who are, and I'm here to answer questions. And if anyone wants to set up a call with me or for me to call them, just leave your information in the chat, phone number, or if you'd like to reach out through Calendly, which is easier, we can put that in the chat as well. I think we're going to. And you're more than welcome to sign up with me just to, we can initially talk about where to start and pick it up from there.
And Carl is so good at setting these up. I mean, he's a whiz. So I'm sure he would help you with any kind of setup that you would need. Customization in timesheet is really easy, but sometimes when you don't know the product as well as he does, it can be a lot. Especially that timesheet can do a lot for you, can do great things, and can save you a lot of time and a lot of money in tax credits. So I would say, yeah, reach out to Carl and see if he can do his magic and give you a hand.
I want to thank everyone for coming to on behalf of Dovico Software, and you'll get a recording of this. And if you have any questions after, you're more than welcome to reach out. Have a great day. Thank you, Diane.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Carl. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you.